Good morning and welcome to Positive Vibes with Shane Nikolic, making positivity and gratitude louder in a podcast world. And I'm very very grateful this morning just to have this new day, new chance to make a difference, new shot at this life gig, new opportunity to live this life. And I'm just bringing it to the airwaves and, bringing it to you in this podcast. Once again, I got totally distracted by other things, distracted by life, distracted by all the shiny things, I guess you could say. And at any rate, I don't have a guest for this morning, so I'm just going to finish reading the chapter I was reading, the section I was reading in the Motivation Manifesto by Brendon Burchard. Anyway, I was in the middle of reading actually almost done with reading the declaration, "We shall meet life with full presence and power." And I've decided to go back to the beginning of the tiny portion I was reading, the section of go back a couple pages anyway, because I was reading the inattention to our roles portion. And instead of reading just the last two roles, I figured I'd go back and read the previous ones. I think there's 4. And so here we go. Inattention to our roles. Being fully present in life not only means being observant and unfailing in addressing our realities, but also deciding to proactively choose our roles and behaviors each day. In any given moment, we can play one or a combination of 5 vital roles. Inattention to these possible roles leads to a life without intention, but bringing our awareness to them helps us activate our personal power in each moment. It brings purpose to our minds and activities, and purpose is the greatest bridge to now. The first role we can play in our observer. The first role we can play in our lives is observer, or the conscious viewer. This is the role and responsibility we are charged with through the gift of self-awareness. As observer, we can float above our reality and view the totality of who we are in life and the minutiae of how we are acting and reacting in the very moment. It is not a detachment from ourselves or the moment, but rather a careful observance of it. Those who have mastered this role can make a decision and almost simultaneously evaluate whether or not it is the right decision. They can sense themselves doing, feeling, and thinking things and know if those things are authentic. They notice when they are making poor decisions, being rude to others, forgetting something important. They are vitally aware of themselves. They can sense a conflict brewing and feel their anger lifting, yet choose not to act on that anger. It's as though they have an internal dialogue. "Oh, I see that I am becoming upset about this situation. Why am I reacting this way right now? Will anger serve me in this moment? If I were responding as my highest self, what would I say and do right now?" We can learn to master this role by practicing self-examination. Several times throughout the day, we can ask ourselves, if I stopped and hovered above my life, what do I see myself doing, and why do I think I am doing that? Why am I feeling what I am feeling right now? What results will happen from my current actions and intentions? What is it I can sense that my mind, body, and spirit truly feel and need and desire right now? When we grasp this idea of sensing ourselves, we become more connected to ourselves and our lives. This must be our goal. Director. The second role is the more proactive role as director, the conscious and intentional creator of our lives. If we can imagine life as a movie, then we can imagine ourselves as the one directing each scene and character within it. The director calls all the shots and is the ultimate planner and authority on what each character is doing, why they are doing it, and what they are going to do next. The director chooses where to focus the camera in each second of filming. The director makes well-reasoned choices about the characters in order to shape a compelling and meaningful story. From this simple metaphor, we can draw much wisdom for improving our lives. Those who are unhappy with the current story of their life are those who have not been directing its scenes and characters. They lacked a plan for their story. They wandered in and out of situations in their lives without any real intent. They focused on the wrong things, often zooming in on the negative aspects of life while missing the beautiful or interesting. They let the wrong characters enter the important scenes. They rarely stepped back from the frame to see the big picture. They let themselves respond to situations not as noble and heroic character, but as a whiny child screeching across the stage of life. Mastering the role of director requires us to be detailed in our intentions for each scene in our story. If we are going out on a date with our spouse this evening, how do we want the scene to unfold? What kind of person do we want to be at the dinner table? How will we appear and what will we sound like? How will we respond to her descriptions of her day? What surprises will keep the scene fresh? How might the entire evening be a romantic love affair captured through our own eyes? Where is this story with this person going to go? Playing the director of our own movie gives us the ability to choose our entire character and life's arc. Will our character be strong or weak, noble or selfish, stressed or peaceful, flighty or grounded? Will each of our days say something about who we are? And if so, what? What will we demonstrate and become in the next scene of our lives? These are important questions. If we do not ask them, we fail to focus on the story of our lives, and thus we become lost within it. Worse, we become bit players in other people's stories, casualties of the larger mass narrative that is a boring tale of conformity. So let us be more conscious. What shall our life story be, and how can we direct our thoughts and actions to make that vision a reality? Guardian. The third role deserving our attention is that of guardian to our mind, body, and soul. We must stand at the gates of our life and protect ourselves from unwanted contaminants, negative information, people, and habits. How often we fail in this role. We let such useless information, tripe, and stupidity into our minds. We dumbly consume words, images, and sounds from salacious sources that masquerade their alerts and offers as somehow relevant to our lives. This is the news media that pretends some ignorant and extremist view might enlighten us. The network that says the reality of a few entitled brats being filmed without filter might entertain us. The webpage that cons us into thinking we are miserable without their product. From all this, we do not grow wiser, but less informed. Not entertained, but numbed. Not wealthier, but poorer. Everything we consume becomes a part of us. All the useless factoids and scandals do nothing but take root in our psyche and emerge as stupidity and drama later on. Seeing people being petty on television a million times makes us pettier. As guardian of our mind, we mustn't allow the trite and negative to enter so easily. We should be conscious of the information entering our minds. If we set out to learn something, let us be purposeful about the source, seeking to feed our brain with positive, empowering information that moves our lives forward. If we want to be entertained, let us choose the form of entertainment that would truly enliven us, that would bring a depth of understanding or appreciation into our lives. In all cases, let us remain at our post as the protector of a healthy and vital mind. What we see and hear and allow into our brains shapes our personality and our destiny. We must also be guardians of our bodies. The plight of those in abundance cultures brimming with fake food is that convenience thwarts common sense. Rather than choosing food that is real, whole, and good for us, we choose what is fast and sweet. As a society, we have become not guardians but gorgers, stuffing and poisoning ourselves, mindlessly toxifying the very structure that houses our heart and soul. Most people would feel guilty for destroying someone else's property, yet they wreck the very temple their Creator gifted them. It is time we protect our health by paying more attention to what we are putting in our mouths. There is no lack of information on how to choose a healthy diet or live a healthier lifestyle. Eat smaller portions. Make a plate of mostly whole foods and greens. Limit consumption of processed food or anything with unpronounceable ingredients. Stop eating so much sugar. Move more and exercise several times per week to maintain a healthy, strong body. Drink more water and get more sleep. None of this is new information. What is required is a new commitment to caring for our bodies. If we let the energy of our body fade, our motivation soon goes with it. Let us be equally vigilant in evaluating the people we let into our lives. Are we allowing tyrants, jackals, and jerks to contaminate our environment? Who are the negative people poisoning our potential? And why are they in our space? Are we constantly allowing ourselves to be hurt? Are we surrounding ourselves by whiners and haters? To one and all, they must go. And we mustn't hope that they will go. They will loiter as long as we allow. It is up to us to be fierce guardians of our happiness and humanity in life. This often requires direct communication to tell others to leave, to adjust their attitude, to be kinder and more supportive. It requires being more assertive and demanding. No one likes to do this kind of work, but we must protect ourselves from sour humans. By the same token, we must surround ourselves with positive, kind, and inspiring people. We can choose to call to them from the gates of our lives, inviting them into our circles and homes, asking them to share their insights and lives with us. Warrior. The next role is the warrior. Should we sit in our homes and find life wanting, then we must stand and venture out to fight purposefully for something more. We must be bold, fierce, and unrelenting in chasing our dreams. We must push aside our fears, struggle with conviction, battle through all obstacles. We must want to win, to bring back treasure and glory to our homes, to leave nothing on the battlefields of life but the legend of our courage and might. We will have made nothing of ourselves or created anything significant unless we prepare for the long and arduous journey to mastery. What skills must we have to win our next battles? Let us acquire them now. What tools and resources will we need? Let us ready them now. Who will we need to march with us so that we can have camaraderie and support in taking the next mountain? Let us seek to meet and enlist them now. What must we sacrifice in order to ascend even higher? Let us sacrifice it now before it weighs us down on the journey. Owning the role of warrior requires us to take stock of all the things we are deeply committed to in life. The warrior asks, what will I stand for in life? How will I bring honor and abundance to my loved ones? What adventures will make me feel alive? What do I want, and how hard am I prepared to fight for it? This matter of hard work reveals whether we are the cowards or warriors of this world. Perhaps it is time we step back from all our busy work and think again about our greater dreams and glory. Let us be honest and brave in assessing our lives, asking, how hard am I really working toward my dream? Am I letting little obstacles stop my progress, or am I battling through them on a consistent basis? Am I doing what I must to prepare my mind, body, and soul for victory? Am I acting with real conviction and commitment in life, or simply trudging through? Have I struggled to succeed in any area of my life because I failed to sacrifice or commit? If we have real dreams, then we must fight for them. For the sake of our soul and our families, we must adopt that warrior spirit that is hungry, ambitious, and courageous. The essence of the warrior spirit is readiness, a bias toward action. Warriors do not waste time in making decisions. There is little hesitation, hemming, hawing, or hedging. Warriors do not await perfect circumstances to begin the long march to victory. They do not stop when tired or frightened. They do not shy away from a needed fight. They do not apologize for boldness or strength. No, when there is a conquest, when they see fortune in the lands on the horizon, they set out, they march, and they march. On their path, they have gravity about them, a seriousness, a commitment, a strong center. They are solid no matter how much turmoil and uncertainty lurks beneath. Their fire, will, and discipline are uncommon, sometimes causing others to fear their ambition, and yet always they earn respect for their courage. There they go, the watchers on the sidelines of life say. That person is a fighter and will not give up. So what is it that we are fighting for? To real warriors, this is a burning question, something deeply contemplated. Warriors take pride and dignity from their answers to such a question. Their commitments are important to them, and every small victory toward their commitments is logged, celebrated, integrated into their identity, shared joyously with their tribe of fellow strivers. They are fully aware of the fact that they are warriors and creating a warrior ethos, a legend as a fighter for things both important to themselves and also grander and more significant than themselves. They are giving them their lives to something that matters. To become stronger warriors, we must stop all the hesitations and excuses. We must commit to fighting harder and longer toward our dreams. So let us write down all the things we've been waiting to do, along with all our excuses for not doing them. Let us contemplate where we are being weak in our lives or progressing too slowly. Then let us get recommitted and decide that tomorrow, no matter what, we will march with courage toward our dreams, regardless of the obstacles in our way. Let us be obsessive and fierce about our progress once more. Warriors are stubborn and strict, clear about what they fight for, and committed to every discipline required to win the next battle. For the fate of our dreams and for the security and abundance of our families, let our character be so solid. Lover, while on our quests, we must never forget whom we are fighting for. These are people we care for and who need us. No victory is sweet and no life fulfilling without someone to celebrate with and care for. And so, let us master our role as lover. Lovers have a stunning capacity for shining attention and adoration on others. They take a vital interest in others so that they may understand them, care for them, and contribute meaningfully to their lives. They communicate from the heart and seek to enlarge the heart of those around them by giving them respect and empathy. This may be the most difficult role and responsibility to master. Our relationships demand more presence, more attention, and more purposeful tending than any other area of our lives. Yet how often we cause our own disappointment, heartbreak, and separation. Think of all the wrecked relationships that could have been saved with just a few more minutes' worth of time, attention, and affection. Witness the father yell at his daughter without regard for her feelings or needs. Observe the wife at the table staring at her phone rather than conversing with her spouse. Recall the time a loved one needed a kind word, but we were too busy. All the darkness and sadness caused in these situations would be preventable if there were a higher focus on love. In a modern world plagued by distraction, our greatest work in becoming better lovers is in reconnecting with those who have already given us their hearts. We have to finally stop all looking about and once more peer into the eyes of those we adore. We have to ask them more questions. How was their day? Really? What are they struggling with? What would make them feel more alive and happy? How can we connect with them and care for them better? Is there a way we can demonstrate even more affection and appreciation for them? We must learn to sit down each day and think about the health and growth of our loved ones as much as we think about the growth of our careers. Are there rituals we can create to bring us all closer? To rekindle the fire and passion? To move our lives forward together? Each of us was fashioned from love. Our nature is love, and our hearts beat with it, and our spirit soars with it, with its quickening power. Let us reconnect with our hearts and the hearts of others. Let us embody this role with such vitality and power that in the bright beams of our love, those around us are stunned and overjoyed and honored and enlivened. Leader. These are men and women counting on us and looking to our example. They await our direction and action. We owe it to them to be outstanding in our role as leader. The world is in dire need of leaders. Because we lack them, so many individuals and institutions are barreling blindly in the dark. Society is not being moored to the demands of good character and the expectations to serve the common good. And so the world is intoxicated by greed, mad passions, and intolerance. Without leaders at the helm of humanity, what should be a joyous collective ride toward hope, freedom, and abundance for all is instead a terrible, directionless drive with spoiled brats too ignorant and proud to ask for directions, a careening vehicle headed to catastrophe. We must begin again the work of uplifting humankind. Our times demand vision and disciplined, collaborative effort to make a real difference. These things are inspired and sustained by good leaders. And so let us ask ourselves, what can be done to improve this world that I influence? How can I help others solve problems and achieve their dreams? Who can I enlist and empower to help achieve something remarkable? How can I unlock the potential of those around me to do more good? Perhaps if people asked these kinds of questions, we could stop society's headlong drive into oblivion. Yet some of us fear taking a leadership role. But what is our excuse? In the final reckoning of our life's legacy, shall we explain to our Creator that He did not equip us well enough for the task? No, We must forget the excuses and remember our duty to serve something larger than ourselves. Look back at history. When good decisions and progress were made at the important crossroads of each era, there were always bold and motivated people with clear vision and sure voices. Let us be that for our generation. The call for leadership is all around. Let's not play deaf to the needs of the world at this moment of crisis. There are things to volunteer for and lead in our neighborhoods and communities. There are untapped sources of potential and power in our businesses. And so let us decide now to do our best to spot those areas of need, to lift those around us, to unite people in meaningful struggle and service once more. For the betterment of our world, it is time to take charge once more. The moment now. Each of these roles, observer, director, guardian, warrior, lover, and leader, is available to us in any moment. Should we be intent on activating them, we shall own the moment in ways we never imagined. Motivation will arise. Life will come back. A vibrancy will emanate through our entire being. None of us will ever master all these roles in our lives simultaneously, but that does not mean we should neglect them. Today, let us commit to studying these roles and doing our damnedest to enact them with more presence and power. The sunshine of enlightenment spreads to those who understand that the moments of our lives must not go unnoticed and unlived. We can feel these warm rays of hope if we make the committed choice not to detach from our lives in any way. We mustn't avoid this day's reality or wish for a better one. We must learn to live in reverence to the moment and all we have been given by it and all we choose to give to it. We can choose our roles and responses to the world so over time, our character and destiny are forged purposefully. From these efforts, we shall rediscover the immensity and freedom and gift that is each and every divine moment spent alive. Wow. Yeah, that's just powerful. Such as was this whole book. But I know this. As a member of the 12-step program, or a couple 12-step programs, in what I read today, I noticed, sort of, this whole, what do I want to say, taking charge, basically, essentially taking charge of our lives, being the director and guardian and observer and warrior, lover, and just all six of these roles, being that in our lives, sort of taking back control. It's not taking back all the control, it's like my speaking for myself, and having worked the 12-step program in my life, I've come to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity, and then that step 2 and step 3 made a decision to turn our will and our lives over the care of God as we understood Him, turning our lives over to that higher power, and it's like it's like to me, I see how putting myself, looking in as the observer, and thinking about it, I see how other people may think that, it's like, oh, well, now you're taking back control. What about that, giving your will and your life over to the care of God as you understand Him, or, your higher power. But it's not like that for me. To me, in my mind, it's like, taking charge of, our actions. It's like taking charge, basically taking control of what we can take control of in our actions and reactions in life, not the whole picture. And anyway, that's where I'm at with that. I guess it's neither here nor there, since I'm just in all that I just said. I'm like, so it sort of like sounds like worrying about other people's opinions and about my actions and reactions. And in the end, it just comes down to for me, it comes down to living my life and achieving my goals and my dreams and aspirations. And yeah, that's where that is. But this last since I've started following motivational, inspirational speakers and authors, it's and adopted this way of thinking and living and being grateful and positive all the time. Well, for the most part, it's like I have my moments like anyone else, but I'm human. Go figure. I'm gonna have those moments, but since then, I totally this last part, just this last part. Should we be intent on activating these roles in our lives, we shall own the moment in ways we never imagined. Motivation will arise, life will come back, vibrancy will emanate through our entire being. The sunshine of enlightenment spreads to those who understand that the moments of our lives must not go unnoticed and unlived. And it's just like, okay, this last sentence. From these efforts, we shall rediscover the immensity and freedom. Immensity and freedom, those are powerful words. And gift that is each and every divine moment spent alive. Each and every divine moment spent alive. It's like, since, it goes back to the principle of living, one day at a time or one moment at a time. And it's like living my life one moment at a time and paying attention to each day, each hour, each minute, each moment, is so very, very powerful. It's like being conscious of each and every step of a hike, a trek, walking down the beach and, being aware of every step in the sand, every sitting on the beach and being aware, and watching every wave that comes in and hits the shore. In life, every person that comes into our lives, being conscious of that person and getting to know who they are, and not just like, oh, there goes someone else, there goes someone else, there goes someone else. It's like, just being aware. I could go on, but it's just plain being aware. And it's like I've noticed. I don't know if you've been following me on Instagram and Facebook. I I post videos of I've been posting videos on the beach here in Tacoma, either or the shore, on along Ruston Way or Titlow Beach, and also the beach at Chambers Bay, looking across toward McNeil Island. Um, I I sit there and shoot these little videos, either just shoot videos of the sunset over the water, or uh, hold up my lens ball, clear glass ball, and like crystal ball essentially, and hold that up in the air and shoot the sunset through it. Anyway, in these videos, while I'm sitting there, holding my camera up, I'm watching the waves, and trying not to focus on, trying to keep my focus on, shooting the entire video, but you know, uh, getting caught up in the moment, watching the waves just roll in and being aware of each and every wave. And I don't know, it's just like totally meditative for me, but that's a very good analogy, to amplify that to life, just being aware of each and every uh, being aware of all these roles in our lives that we play and that we are playing at any given moment, and being aware of the people that come into our lives, being aware of the situations that we are in during that situation, can help us deal with that situation, help us cope with it. uh, how do we, how do we, essentially, another analogy, how do we want the movie, our life, to look like later on when we look back at this moment? So how do we, looking in as the observer, how do we, how do we want it to look in the end? Maybe from an observer outsider's point of view. How do we want to look back on it? Just, I don't know. For me, it's like, just being positive and grateful. Grateful for the moment, grateful for the people in situations, grateful for the situations. Helps everything flow better, helps life be more comfortable to live in, if you will. I don't know, helps the whole thing go together better. Yeah. And going back here in this leadership role, it says here, well, just this right here. But what is our excuse? In the final reckoning of our life's legacy, shall we explain to our Creator that He did not equip us well enough for the task? We must forget the excuses and remember our duty to serve something larger than ourselves. In thinking about that, it's like, but what is our excuse? What is, what's, if I don't plan on doing my best, giving my all for the rest of today, for the rest of the month, the year, for the rest of my life, what is my excuse for not doing that? And it's like, despite my excuse for doing that, in my opinion, my Creator did, God, as I understand Him, my higher power, had to have equipped me well enough for this life, this journey that I'm on, otherwise, I wouldn't be here. I'd have been, if I wasn't equipped well enough, then, I probably wouldn't be here right now. Where I'm at in my life, if I was even alive right now, this far. But I am, so, I'm just going with it. And just forgetting the excuses and remembering our duty to serve something larger than ourselves. Like I've stated before, I've used my brain injury and, started using my MS as an excuse, but I've definitely used my brain injury as an excuse, to not press on, not to go forward, as an excuse to stay where I was, or, slide backwards, go backwards. Yeah. And I came to points in time where it's like the excuses were, too much, and it's rather stupid. So not necessarily rather stupid, but rather minutia, if you will. And I just, decided to scrap them and go for it. Yeah, it's like as Brendon Burchard, said in still never been to his experts academy. I've just seen promos for it, and I've watched a promo for it. I forget. I think it might have been on YouTube, but at any rate, he's talking about the experts academy, and in a brief little synopsis of it, he explains that each of us, and I want to reiterate each of you, but he says each of us is an expert in one thing or another. And, like he said, we can share with others, our whatever, share with others about whatever we are an expert in. And I, may not be a big time guru or expert in, one thing or another, but, I'm an expert in my life, and, I'm an expert in having had a brain injury and being in a coma and recovery from that as it pertains to my life. I'm an expert in multiple sclerosis and living with that disease as it is in my life. I'm an expert in my own living with alcoholism and drug addiction and recovery from that. And what life is like 28 years later in sobriety. And it's like I'm an expert in living my life and dealing with, what I've dealt with. I'm an expert in podcasting, so far as I've gone in podcasting and, what I'm doing with it. I'm an expert in social media, so far as what I've done with social media, and I can share tips that I've learned along the way. And so far as the 18-cent strategy handed down to me by Gary Vaynerchuk when I met him in New York, had an appointment with him in New York. And so anyway, I took that little gleaning that I got from that promo on the Experts Academy, and plus the motivation or inspiration I got from the Motivation Manifesto here, and I decided to write a book about my life, share with others what I've been through, how I've gotten through it all, the steps I've taken, the journey I've been on, and, help others, I'm wanting to help others who have lived with, have had a brain injury and living and recovering from that. I want to help others if I can, help others with living with multiple sclerosis and give them hope, along with, giving hope to people with brain injuries, and, people in recovery from, addictions, alcoholism and drug addiction, and share my experience, strength, and hope with these issues, and yeah, anything else I've lived through that I can help other people with. I want to share my experience, strength, and hope with that, so that so that I can help others. I want to share, how I've gotten into running, how my running has, how I started running, and basically how it's been so far. If I can help others, that's cool. Just yeah, and I did finally bring my book in. Live the Passionate Life and Quit Settling for Survival is the title of my book, and yeah, it's available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and on Balboa Press's bookstore on their website. That's Balboa Press is who I published my book through. Self-published. Let's see. Yeah, I finally remembered to bring my book in, but I couldn't really finalize a choice for a section to read out of my book, so I just read the next section out of here. Maybe I'll read out of my book next week. Although the next section is a very good one in the Motivation Manifesto. Declaration 2, we shall reclaim our agenda. I don't know, maybe not. We'll see what happens. But yeah, with that, I just want to say that, I don't know, I enjoy, I'm enjoying reading this, reading through the Motivation Manifesto by Brendon Burchard. It's just a powerful book, and it speaks to me, and I hope it speaks to you. And I hope you're getting something from it, because I read it again and again, and I'm always re-enlivened, reinvigorated, or whatever, remotivated by the Motivation Manifesto. And all right, well, like I say, that's about it. And I just want to say, I just want to remind you to stay kind, optimistic, and grateful, and have a phenomenal day and phenomenal week until my next episode, next Sunday morning, 8 o'clock, right here, right, same bat time, same bat channel, if you will, here at VT Radio Universal in Tacoma, Washington. And I guess that's a wrap. So with that, I'm out. Ciao.